Okay, so let's unpack this. Imagine setting out on a journey, right? You think you know where you're going, only to find every single turn is like riddled with these unexpected tests. The winds are short-lived, and the cost of just one mistake is, well, it's almost unbelievably high. Today, we're diving deep into a really crucial part of Odysseus's epic trip home after the Trojan War. We're pulling this straight from the source material, odhs.pdf. And this section, it really pushes the limits of resilience, leadership, and, honestly, just sheer luck.
That's a great way to put it. What's really compelling here is watching how fast things can change for him, how fortunes pivot. This isn't just some adventure story, you know?
Right.
It's really a profound look at cause and effect, temptation, and how these external things, or maybe even just like very human flaws inside us, can lead to totally devastating results.
Exactly. So our mission today really is to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the key insights from Odysseus's pretty harrowing encounters. We're talking Aiolios, the Laestrygons, and Circe. These aren't just dots on a map. They're pivotal moments. They shape his fate, and they actually set him up for a completely unexpected next step in his journey. So this deep dive, it should give you a kind of shortcut to understanding these really critical turning points. Okay, so after all the chaos of Troy, you'd think a hero deserves a bit of a break, right? Well, Odysseus' first big stop after leaving all that behind was the island of Aiolios, son of Hippotas, loved by the gods. The source makes it sound almost like paradise. A floating island, a bronze wall around it, supposedly unbreakable. Can you picture it? Aiolios, his 12 kids, 6 daughters, married to his 6 sons, just constantly feasting, their house smelling of food. And Aiolios, at first he's this amazing host, keeps Odysseus there for a whole month, just soaking up stories about Troy, about the journey home.
And it's right here that Aiolus gives Odysseus this extraordinary gift. It's a bag made from the hide of 9-year-old ox, right? And it's meticulously stuffed with all the winds, all of them, tight, super tight with a silver string. Only the west wind is left out to guide them home. I mean, this wasn't just a gift. It was this incredible chance for a smooth trip home, like divinely helped, designed to just clear the path for them. Makes you wonder, how could something that perfect go wrong?
And it almost didn't. They sailed for 9 days and nights, didn't even need oars.
Yeah.
And on the 10th day, there it was, the land of their fathers. Home, Ithaca. They can actually see people tending fires, that close. You can almost like feel the relief, but then the critical moment. Odysseus, totally exhausted from handling the ship's sheet himself that whole time, he finally falls into this sweet sleep.
Right. And this is where human weakness, envy, it just crashes right into divine help. While Odysseus is asleep, his crew, they're nursing this resentment, you know. They think the bag's full of silver and gold from Aiolios. And they're comparing it to their own situation, coming home empty-handed after Troy. They're actually complaining, like, look at this guy. Everyone loves him, favors him, and we get nothing.
It really raises a question, doesn't it? Was there evil counsel, as the text calls it, just pure greed? Or was there maybe also this feeling of injustice, like Odysseus was getting special treatment?
And the result is just catastrophic.
Yeah.
Instantly, they open the bag, all the winds burst out, creates this sudden massive storm, and it sweeps them away, weeping, away from their own country again. The text says Odysseus was so despairing, he actually thought about throwing himself overboard, just ending it right there in the water. It's hard to even imagine that level of hope just crushed. And when they get blown back to Aiolos's island, there's no second chance. None. Aiolos just lays into him, calls Odysseus hateful to the immortals, refuses any more help. And this signals a really big shift. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? That divine favor, if you seem to lose it, well, you can't easily get it back. It shows this kind of brutal truth. Even gods have limits on who they'll help. Some mistakes seem to carry this irreversible, almost cosmic judgment. Makes you think about collective responsibility, you know, and how fast luck can turn.
So, rejected, abandoned by Aiolios, hopes totally gone. Odysseus and his men, they have no choice. They just have to row. 6 hard, desperate days later, they stumble onto Telepolis, the city of the Laestrygons. And the description of the harbor there, it's chilling. This sky-high cliff all around it, 2 big headlands sticking out, making this narrow entrance. And inside, just this pale calm on the water. No waves, no surf.
Yeah, what's really unsettling there is that contrast. You've got this seemingly calm, safe place, like a perfect harbor, and then the unbelievable horror waiting for them. That quietness, it kind of lulls you, doesn't it? It makes you drop your guard. Makes the violence that comes next even more shocking. It's almost like a perfect trap.
Totally. And Odysseus, maybe learning from the Aiolios disaster, he's cautious.
Yeah.
Sends only a small scouting party, 2 men and a herald. They meet this girl, daughter of Antiphates, drawing water, She's surprisingly strong. They follow her to her father's house and to Fates' house. And the sight waiting inside is just horrific. His
Yeah.
wife, described as big as a mountain peak.
And right there, it snaps. From uneasy quiet to just sudden, brutal chaos. Antifatasi grabs one of the scouts and starts preparing him for dinner. Just like that, instant grotesque cannibalism. Then the full attack starts. The king yells, and suddenly there are tens of thousands of Lystragones, described as not like men, but like giants. They're up on the cliffs, throwing man-sized boulders down, smashing the ships, spearing the men like fish. It just highlights the sheer, overwhelming force of unchecked savagery. There's no talking, no negotiation. It's just annihilation on a scale that's almost impossible to grasp.
It's pure terror, absolute chaos. But Odysseus, he's always the quick thinker in a crisis, right? He acts fast, cuts his own ship's cable with his sword, yells at his remaining guys to row for their lives. The source says, "Gladly my ship, and only mine, fled out from the overhanging cliffs." Come on. That line is so stark, so chilling. Just underlines the massive loss. All the other ships, all those crews, gone in moments. An entire fleet just wiped out. So after that huge loss, that heart-wrenching escape, they're consumed by sorrow, just exhausted. They eventually get to Aiaia. That's Circe's island. They land in silence, totally demoralized. But even then, Odysseus shows that resourcefulness. He immediately grabs his spear and sword, goes to find the lookout point, spots smoke. A sign of life, maybe. And then he runs into this huge stag, great stag with towering antlers, hunts it down impressively, and carries it all the way back to the ship, which does a bit of massive effort. But it provides food, much-needed food, for his broken crew.
Yeah, that sequence really shows a key part of his leadership, his adaptability. He's not just giving them food. He's creating a moment of hope, a bit of collective action when they're at their lowest. It's this basic act of care, really, that starts rebuilding morale, reminds them they're still a team, even after losing so much.
So their spirits are a little bit lifted by the feast, and Odysseus sends another scouting party towards Circe's house. The outside looks almost welcoming. An open area, polished stones. But it's surrounded by lions and wolves that, weirdly, don't attack. They just come up to the men, thronging about them, waving their long tails and fawning, clearly enchanted by Circe. And inside they hear Circe singing, a sweet voice, the text says, as she works at her loom.
And then comes the terrifying part, the transformation. Circe invites them in. Well, all except Aiolian, who hangs back. He suspected treachery, wisely. She gives the others this potion, mixed with malignant drugs to make them forget home. Then she hits them with her wand, and they literally change. They get the look of pigs, with the heads and voices and bristles of pigs. But the minds within them stayed as they had been before. That raises a fascinating question, right? What does that mean, their minds staying intact? Is it like a living nightmare, trapped in an animal body with a human brain? Or maybe it's a subtle comment on, human nature, that our core stays the same, even if the outside changes.
Eurylochus runs back to the ship, terrified. At first, he can't even shriek. He's so overcome with grief. Then he tells them what happened, this dismal fate. But Odysseus, his decision is firm. He will go to Circe himself, even though Eurylochus is desperately pleading with him not to go. Odysseus just says, "I shall go, for there is strong compulsion upon me." You really feel his determination there.
And this is such a pivotal moment because this is where we get that crucial divine help again. Hermes shows up. Looks like a young man with beard new grown. He meets Odysseus on the path and gives him this powerful herb, moly. The text describes it. Black at the root, but with a milky flower. And it notes, it's hard for mortal men to dig up, but the gods have power to do all things. Hermes gives him exact instructions, like a battle plan for handling Circe. Drink the potion, the moly will protect you. Then rush her with your sword as if you were raging to kill her. And demand she swear this great oath that she won't try any more tricks on him. It's basically a step-by-step guide to beating her magic and turning the situation around.
And it works perfectly. Odysseus drinks the potion, isn't enchanted. Rushes Circe with his sword. She screams, recognizes him instantly. Resourceful Odysseus, just as Hermes predicted. He demands the oath. She swears it right away. Then there's bathing, feasting. But Odysseus refuses to eat. Not until his men are freed. He's still thinking of his crew.
The way the men are restored is also really interesting. Circe lets the pigs go, uses some other medicine on them, and they turn back into men. But there's a twist. They're younger than they had been and taller and handsomer by far. The reunion is super emotional, as you'd expect. But this transformation, this improvement, it raises this intriguing idea of redemption, maybe. Reversal of fortune. It hints that maybe not all these magical trials are purely bad. Maybe overcoming them can actually refine you somehow.
You'd think, after all that, smooth sailing, right?
Yeah.
But no, there's still this challenge from whereAiolos. He tries to hold the other men back from going to Circe's house. He blames Odysseus for the earlier losses, warns them about Circe, says something like, it was by this man's recklessness that these others died too. And Odysseus' first reaction is intense. He wants to draw out the long-edged sword and kill whereAiolos right there, but his companions stop him, calm him down, and whereAiolos, though he's clearly scared, eventually follows them.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting, because now you see this major challenge to Odysseus' leadership, but it's coming from inside his own crew. And this period becomes a whole year spent with Circe, a year of rest, recovery, lavish living, feasting on unlimited meat and sweet wine, as the text says. It's a tricky balancing act for a leader, isn't it? Providing comfort versus letting things get too comfortable, letting complacency set in. And Odysseus now has to handle this internal grumbling alongside all the external dangers.
And that year of comfort, it does eventually reach a tipping point. After a full year, his men, his eager companions, they pull him aside. They say, what's wrong with you? It's time. Time to think about home, about our own country. Odysseus, convinced by their longing, goes to Circe and asks her to keep her promise, to help him get home.
And Circe's answer is just astonishing and deeply unsettling. She tells him essentially, not so fast. First, there is another journey you must accomplish, and reach the house of Hades and of revered Persephone, there to consult with the soul of Tiresias the Theban. She explains why Tiresias is so important. He's the blind prophet whose senses stay unshaken within him, to whom alone Persephone has granted intelligence even after death. Okay. Odysseus' reaction to this news is pure despair. He says he doesn't want to live anymore, doesn't want to look on the sunlight. It's that classic narrative twist, right? The path forward isn't easy. It actually leads through the land of the dead itself.
But despite his despair, Circe gives him these incredibly detailed, almost chillingly precise instructions for this journey, this trip to the underworld. Sail with the north wind, find Persephone's groves, poplars, and willows, find where 3 rivers meet, Periphlagathon, Kokitos, and Acheron. She lays out the exact ritual he needs to perform to talk to the dead. Dig a pit, a cubit square, pour specific offerings, honey and milk, then sweet wine, then water, sprinkle barley. Make promises, sacrifices he'll make when he gets back to Ithaca. A bearing cow for the dead, treasures, and a special black ram just for Tiresias. And crucially, he has to crouch there with his sword drawn. He cannot let any of the strengthless heads of the perished dead get near the blood in the pit until he's questioned Tiresias.
You can imagine how the crew reacts to this news. Absolute devastation. They sat down on the ground and lamented and tore their hair out. And right in that moment of collective grief, something else happens. This tragic, almost random death, Elpenor. He's described as the youngest man, not terribly powerful, nor sound in his thoughts. He'd gotten drunk, fallen asleep on Circe's roof, and when he woke up, he forgot where he was, fell off, and broke his neck. It raises another interesting question, doesn't it? Does this seemingly minor, accidental death kind of foreshadow the real hidden costs still to come? Or is it just a stark reminder that even in these grand, epic stories, human fragility is always there? That small mistakes, simple accidents can still be fatal, regardless of the bigger quest.
And as they get ready to leave, Circe performs one last act of help. Unseen by the men, she goes down to the ship and thoughtfully tethers the sacrificial animals they'll need, the ram and ewe, right there for them, ensuring they have what they need for this truly harrowing journey ahead. So as we wrap up this deep dive, just think about the gauntlet Odysseus has run here, the emotional roller coaster, the physical toll, from that crushing betrayal of hope by his own men with the bag of winds, to the absolutely brutal, overwhelming losses at the hands of the Laestrygones. Then the complex magic of Circe, she cursed them, but then ultimately saved them and guided them. And now this incredibly daunting, totally unexpected journey to the land of the dead, just to get a prophecy. It's just relentless, an unpredictable test of his character, his leadership, everything.
You know, thinking about it for us today, navigating our world, which is just overloaded with information, that ability to see clearly, to act on the important insights, to kind of cut through all the noise, maybe that's our modern version of Molly, you know. This ancient story, it reminds us that even when we get those moments of rest, of comfort, the really profound challenges, they often lie just beyond that comfort zone. They require an even deeper dive into the unknown. Sometimes, yeah, into what feels like our own kind of underworld.
So what does this all really mean for us? Maybe the deepest dive we can take isn't just into the source material itself, but into understanding that real resilience. It's forged not just by facing those external monsters, whatever they might be, but also by confronting the internal stuff, the temptations, the quiet despair, the unexpected accidents, all those things that can, just like those winds in that ill-fated bag, sweep us right off course, especially when we feel like we're so close to home.